headlines. President Bola Tinubu congratulates President-elect John Dramani Mahama on his victory in the December 7 general elections in Ghana. Plus, on the news, Ministry of Foreign Affairs urges public to disregard the fake list of ambassadorial nominees circulating on social media. From the international scene, Syrian opposition fighters take over the presidential palace in Damascus and sent crowds into the streets to celebrate the end of al-Assad family's 53-year rule. Details of this are coming your way soon. To stay with us. Many thanks for joining us at this time. Now, details of the news. President Bola Tinubu has congratulated President-elect John Dramani Mahama on his victory in December 7 general elections in Ghana following his opponent's concession speech. In a telephone call to Mahama, President Tinubu's hope that Mahama's ascension to power for the second time would further bring stability to the economic community of West African states ECOWAS, of which President Tinubu is chairman. The special advisor to the President's Bayo Ononuga Information and Strategy in a statement said that the President Tinubu commended the people of Ghana for their commitment to democracy, which was demonstrated through the peaceful and successful conduct of both the presidential and parliamentary elections. Ononuga said the president also applauded Ghanaians for demonstrating again to the world that democracy is the preferred path to achieving political stability, economic development, social justice, and transparent governance in Africa. President Tinubu noted that President-elect Mahama's return to Jubilee House, having served as president from 2012 to 2017, reflects the Ghanaian people's trust in his stewardship and vision to take the country to greater heights. Mahama served as Vice President of Ghana from 2009 to 2012, Member of Parliament from 1997 to 2009, and held deputy and ministerial roles between 1998 and 2001. President Tinubu renews his steadfast support for deepening the fraternal bonds between Nigeria and Ghana, underpinned by shared history, cultural ties, mutual support and cooperation, Pan-African goals, democracy, the rule of law, and economic integration. The Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, on Sunday commended Ghana's electoral process, highlighting its innovation and political stability as key factors in the smooth conduct of his 2024 presidential election. Ghana's ex-president John Mahama won the country's presidential election held on Saturday, December 7, 2024, after his main opponent, Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia, had conceded defeat. The Election Commission said that the electoral results were likely to be announced on Tuesday. Yakubu, who monitored the election and spoke in a short video obtained by Newsben, observed political stability inherent in Ghana's democracy, noting the consistency of his political party structure and voter loyalty. Yakubu recited the perseverance of the main opposition candidate, a former vice president and the current president Nana Akufo-Addo, who contested multiple elections before achieving success. The INEC boss also noted that Ghana's approach to managing results at the constituency level, inspired by Nigeria, has improved the efficiency of the electoral process. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has urged the public to disregard the fake list of ambassadorial nominees circulating on social media. In a press release issued on Sunday and signed by spokesperson Kimi B. Ebinefa, the ministry clarified that no such appointment have been made, as it emphasized that the appointment of ambassadors is solely the prerogative of the president. Nigeria has 109 missions, 76 embassies, 22 high commission, and 11 consulates around the globe. On September 2, 2023, President Bola Tinubu recalled all career and non-career ambassadors operating the country's diplomatic mission, embassies, and consulates globally. A statement by the ministry confirmed the recall, saying, "Circle to the inquiries on the letter recalling the Nigerian ambassador to the UK, the Minister of Foreign Affairs Ambassador Yusuf Tugar clarified that all career ambassadors and non-career ambassadors have been recalled to the instruction of President Bola Tinubu. The envoys were directed to return to the country although before October 31st, 2023. They include the 41 non-career ambassadors and 42 career ambassadors appointed by former President Muhammadu Buhari in July 2020. However, over a year after, ambassadors are yet to be appointed and deployed to various countries. The federal government has announced the release of the final list of successful candidates in the Federal Fire Service recruitment exercise, which started in late 2023. The Secretary of the Civil Defense Correctional Fire and Immigration Services Board, Ja'afaru Ahmed, disclosed this in a statement in Abuja that the names of successful candidates have been uploaded to the board's portal. The statement advised those who applied for the recruitment into the Federal Fire Service FFS to visit the board's portal at CDCFIB from Monday, 9 December 2024 to check if they were successful in the final stage of the recruitment exercise and proceed to print their invitation letter. It also disclosed that the final documentation exercise for the successful candidate will be held at the Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Bello Dambazao Conference Center, Nigerian Correctional Service, National Headquarters in Abuja between December 19 and 21, 2024. It enjoined applicants to appear in white tops and shorts as well as come along with originals and photocopies of their credentials. The statement added, applicants are also to ensure that they appear on the date indicated on their invitation letter and follow the information contained therein strictly. Now to the stories. Former Bayelsa State Governor Siriake Dixon has said that the tax reform bills proposed by President Bola Tinubu and currently before the National Assembly will promote fairness and rectify the existing system. He made this statement while fielding questions from Senate correspondents in Abuja. In October, after receiving approval from the Federal Executive Council, Tinubu sent 4 tax reform bills to the National Assembly for review. The federal government stated that these bills are designed to overhaul the country's tax system. Correspondent Golojo reports that Dixon stated that in Bayelsa, part of what he has been fighting over the year is that most of state tax is paid to Lagos State, adding that most of the VAT is paid to the Lagos State, because the existing tax regime requires that to be attributed to the state where the headquarters of the company is. But in the proposition now, that will be upturned.
Public hearings will take place and people should get ready to present their positions. The tax bill is a law like every other law, and it has to go through the normal process. I gave my reasons why I'm in support. Because right now taxes from Bayelsa are paid to Lagos State, and I don't want that to continue. When there is consumption of any good or services from any state, it should be calculated and paid to that state.
The former chairman of People's Democratic Governors Forum cautioned against allowing emotions to influence decisions, urging lawmakers and other stakeholders to evaluate the tax reform bills on their merit.
I support and do things that are in the national interest.
To avoid uproar.
This country needs that tax review, and I don't want a situation where Lagos State and any other state that has an advantage will retain taxes that ought to go to the states where they originate from.
You're still on to the news on Galaxy TV. Coming up next. Judges of the Federal High Court are advised to remain focused and united against rising intimidation and assault by legal practitioners. Details of that and more coming after the break. Do stay with us. We are glad to have you back. Now for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page as Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate to live updates and comments, as you can easily scan our QR code. Now to the story teased earlier. Judges of the Federal High Court have been advised to remain focused and united, especially against the rising intimidation and assault by legal practitioners. The Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Sowell, gave the admonition at the 2024 Conference of the Federal High Court Judges held in Abuja. Correspondent Kuleojo reports that the Chief Judges, who commended his brother judges for their dedication to the cause of justice in the country, urged them not to relent in their stories but should remain focused and united.
Must encourage us now more than ever before to stand firmly together to defend the integrity of this premier court, especially in the face of determined assault to our collective image by our sworn detractors. This court has in recent times been deliberately put on trial, but we cannot afford to fail.
The Chief Judge of the Federal High Court appealed to lawyers in this category to resort to appeal rather than condemning judges and making unfounded allegations bordering on integrity. Speaking in the same vein, the President of Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dangban-Mason, described the Federal High Court as a strong pillar of the judiciary whose role cannot be quantified.
This significant event highlights not only 4 decades of judicial excellence in the court, but also the enduring commitment to the principles of justice, equity, and rule of law, and unfortunately the bearing of unnecessary assault.
And to other stories, the people of Okwama community in Ogeli, South Local Government area of Delta State have called for the state and federal government intervention in ensuring the release of their kinsmen following the death of a detainee in the custody of the Nigerian Army. This was made known by the Secretary General of the Kingdom and a rights activist, Comrade Edewo Egedegbe, while speaking with newsmen in Ogeli. Speaking of the detention of the arrested community leaders who have been in detention for over 100 days, the rights activist and the elder brother to one of the arrested persons called for urgent action. It will be recalled that 17 soldiers were ambushed and killed in the Delta community of Okwama on March 14, which led to raising of the community by the military and declaring some of the leaders wanted.
The army has right to suspect whoever they are suspecting and even have them arrested. It is also the people's right to have, access to their own people, to have access to their lawyer and whoever. Till date, as we speak, we do not know where our people were kept. And that's worrisome. We've written, and we're also aware that our own Senator, Eded Afinole, has also written to the Chief of Army Staff, all to no avail. So we're so worried. For crying out loud, this is democracy. It's a constitutional democracy that we are in. We are not in a military dictatorship where people can be hounded and you don't have access to them.
Over 100, let's say approximately 110 days. We just approximate over 100 days. And since then, we have not rested. Because the federal government, the state too should do their best. The governor should stand up. These are also some of his responsibility. We are his subject, to cry out loud. We are his subject. So he can speak for us, he can speak for Okwama people. We all voted for him.
Anti-security operatives of the Anambra State Police Command have arrested the suspected kidnapper over a case of armed robbery and kidnapping where a ransom of 15 million naira was collected. The command in a statement by spokesperson Tochukwu Ikenga said the victim's vehicle was recovered during the operation by the police, while the 29-year-old suspect named Ebuka was arrested at Obosi in Idemili North local government area of the state. Another suspect, identified as Emmanuel Unwopoku, who is 34 years old, was also arrested with a red-colored Mercedes-Benz by the police intelligence unit during the course of investigation. Officers of the Nigerian Police Force have rescued 20 victims in two significant kidnapping attempts in Katsina State at about 7 p.m. on the 7 December 2024. Police operatives on the Katsina State Command intercepted a group of armed bandits along the Katsina-Magama-Jibil Road. Now, moving on to other stories. The Onibudo of Ayetoro Budota in Ado-Odota local government area of Ogun State, Oba Adewumi Adeniji Odutala, has come to the defense of the federal government on the tax reform bills, saying the reform will be beneficial to Nigerians if assented by the president. Oba Odutala called on the National Assembly and Presidency as a matter of urgency to bring sanity to the tax administration of the country in order to avert the total collapse of the economy due to tax suffocation of businesses. Speaking to newsmen at the 2024 Festival of Praise, the monarch emphasized the need for the government to give small businesses a breathing space with multiple taxation. He said if President Tinubu gives assent to the tax reform, it will checkmate the excesses of multiple taxation.
This is in Nigeria, so let us think outside the box and just allow Mr. President to make this thing work. So once we make it work, then we'll see the outcome of this. As far as I'm concerned, I'm pleading with whoever is aggrieved with this. Please, let us allow Mr. President to do his job and let us see the outcome. I don't know why people are just... We need to take it easy. And if you see people that are making noise about this old tax reform, it is one side of the country that is making so much noise.
Speaking further, the monarch who acknowledged the hardship in the country said the president shouldn't be the only person to be blamed. He challenged governors to intensify efforts towards ensuring their respective states are adequately managed.
A farmland is functioning in the south. Now, the exchange rate is so bad because we are not producing. And if we are not producing, who is supposed to produce? Is it Mr. President alone? What are the governors? You know, what are they producing in their state that we can export and bring in dollars to the country that will allow a better exchange rate, inflow of forex exchange? So when we are talking about Mr. President, I do tell people that this is not about Mr. President alone. What are we doing? Mr. President has his own faults because whatever happens, the buck stops on his table.
Benue State government says it is set to acquire 15 billion naira worth of grains in readiness to tackle food sufficiency for internally displaced persons and other emergencies in the state. Governor Hyacinth Thalia said this effort is to complement federal government in sending food items to other needy states. The governor will disclose this in Makadi while addressing local government liaison officers, cabinet and some party members. Said his administration has taken steps to improve dry season farming to ensure food security and boost food production in the state. He noted that he is working hard to develop the state. He urged the youth to join hands with him to improve food production in the state while requesting the data of farmers to help put Benue on the ladder of production in agriculture.
The Corporation has set aside 15 billion naira to assemble food in this state. Benue State has no single reason for us to be receiving food palliatives from the federal government.
According to the governor, he said his administration is not cut out of any sharing formula except for those with ideas to help him develop the state.
Sharing formula in this administration. Bring your ideas, sell your ideas. We will buy them, we will work for them, we will work and ensure that we see result. We see result.
The United Nations has urged the Southwest Inter-Party Advisory Council of Nigeria to be the ambassador of campaign for women participation in politics and leadership. Speaking in Ado-Ekiti at the seminar organized for Southwest IPAC, the UN Women Representative Susan Agada stated that non-inclusion of women has continued to remain a challenge in Africa and Nigeria. She praised Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji on the gender-friendliness policy of his administration. In her remarks, the representative of Ekiti State Governor, who was represented by the Director General, Bureau of Community Communications, Mary Osho Motosho, stressed that Ekiti has the highest women's representatives in politics in Nigeria. In his speech, the Ekiti State IPAC Chairman, Owola Daramola, tasked political leaders to go back home and sensitize the people about their advocacy. She also encouraged their wives, daughters, and women generally to go into politics.
Across Nigeria, because that's the message we are carrying across the country to say we are proud of Ekiti and we are happy to support Ekiti because they are exemplary in terms of promotion of women's rights and inclusion of women in politics and across other sectors of the society. We want you to continue to be that influencer. We want you to continue to be that pace setter. And so if you can support by pushing for this commission, I believe that Ekiti would have done a very good thing, not just for Ekiti, but for the other states in Nigeria to copy and implement.
In Ekiti State, the Ekiti is taking the lead when it comes to women in government or even participation of women in politics. We have 6 women in the Ekiti State House of Assembly. That makes Ekiti State having the highest number of women in the House of Assembly.
He for she. I want to encourage our men to go back home and encourage their women to be more involved in active politics, to go for elective position, and to all these issues of stigmatization and name callings should not be brought to politics in the next dispensation.
As part of efforts aimed at stemming the tide of sexual abuse, gender-based violence, amongst others in the society, a group, the Spring Center, in collaboration with Lasisi Agbola Ayole Foundation, has embarked on a sensitization walk door-to-door campaign within the Abeokuta metropolis to reorient the populace on the societal menace. Speaker after speaker in a chat with newsmen said the door-to-door campaign was put in place to create awareness on the need to have a safer society. Speaking on the theme, Safe Spaces, Strong Voices, the speaker stressed the need for consent, the role of parents and guardians towards creating a better society. Other speakers also urged government to support and intensify awareness on the menace of sexual abuse. The executive director, Damola Lakwite, also bemoaned the culture of silence on the part of survivors of the menace. He stressed that applying the strong voice would break the silence.
Around ensuring that once again our community, our environment, the society is safe at large, because the way abuse is going on right now, places that used to be safe are not safe anymore. We have churches, mosques, public places, places where people keep their children so that they can go hustle and they're supposed to come back to meet them safely.
So see to getting our children prepared to identify their environment. The environment might be safe for a few minutes and then a stranger comes in. If your child does not know how to check the change in dynamics and how to react, then that environment is not totally safe because you are not even there at that time to check the change in dynamics. So let's also inform our children. Let's inform them on how to see to it that they themselves, they are safe wherever they are, and they also know how to exit an environment when it's not safe.
Gradually walking into the Christmas season, which is a holiday season, we're trying to tell parents about the need to care for the children, to watch where the children go to, and also to ensure the safety of the children. And for adults also, we are out to talk about consent. We are out to talk about how to be watchful of where they go to, where they eat during the...
Keep it to themselves and, just decide that I know that if I even go to the police or something, I won't get justice. So we need the government to do more, just be open, even if they need to train people to, because I want to believe that some people don't even know that there's a way in which they need to address survivors of sexual abuse. Being a safe space, not just the home now, the government has to be a safe space, even hospitals.
Officers of the Nigerian Police Force have rescued 20 victims in 2 significant kidnapping attempts in Katsina State. At about 7 p.m. on the 7th of December 2024, police operatives of the Katsina State Command intercepted a group of armed bandits along the Katsina-Magama-Jibia road who had opened fire on a moving vehicle conveying 10 occupants in an attempt to kidnap the occupants. According to a statement issued and signed by the Force Public Relations Officer, ACP Muyiwa Dejobi, police operatives engaged the armed bandits in a gun duel and successfully overpowered them, forcing the bandits to flee the scene with varying degrees of gunshot injuries and securing the release of all 10 occupants unhurt. It added that on the same date at about 8:30 p.m., the police operatives attached to Katsina State Command got information of an ambush of a vehicle conveying 10 passengers along the Funtua-Gusau road by suspected bandits and quickly mobilized to the scene, where they engaged the bandits in a fierce gun duel, overpowering them and rescuing the 10 abducted victims. Similarly, on the 4th of December 2024, police operatives attached to Akwa Ibom State Command successfully rescued a young lady who had been early adopted by one Abraham Patrick Francis male with the intention of selling off the abductee into forced prostitution in a neighboring country. Also, police operatives of the Akwa Ibom State Command also raided the kidnappers' den within the Amayam and Otokukwong villages on the 5th of December 2024 and successfully rescued 2 kidnapped victims unhurt, recovered 1 locally fabricated double-barrel gun, 1 locally made pistol, 5 loud cartridges, and neutralized 2 suspected kidnappers in a heated gun duel. Now it's time to do a reminder of news and major headlines during the week. Tracking the Week is up next.
Hello and welcome to Tracking the Week. On Monday, the House of Representatives postponed the scheduled special session on tax reform bill slated for Tuesday, December 3, 2024 indefinitely. The lower chamber said the decision is to allow for wider consultations on the proposed legislations. This is contained in an internal memo sent to members of the House, signed by the House Clerk, Dr. Yahaya Danzari, on Saturday. Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu had, after a long closed-door session on Thursday, announced that the lower chamber would have a special session on Tuesday to deliberate on the tax bill. The House held a long closed-door session on Thursday that lasted for over 1 hour before resuming plenary session. The 4 tax bills, Nigeria Tax Bill 2024, the Tax Administration Bill, the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill, are currently before the 2 chambers of the National Assembly. Still on Monday, the Nigeria Police Force National Cybercrime Center has arraigned 113 foreign nationals at the Federal High Court in Abuja on charges including computer-related fraud, unauthorized access to data, marketing scams, money laundering, conspiracy, and illegal migration. These charges follow extensive investigations that uncovered their alleged involvement in cybercrime, immigration violations, and human trafficking networks. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetekun, while commending the police operatives attached to Zone 7 Command and the National Cybercrime Center, Abuja, for busting a group of foreign nationals involved in a series of cybercrimes, including internet fraud and marketing scams, reiterated the force's commitment to leveraging technological advancements to protect citizens both in the physical and digital realms. Egbetekun, who was represented by the FPRO ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, said the Nigeria Police Force, in collaboration with international law enforcement agencies and embassies, is intensifying effort to combat cybercrime and transnational criminal activities. On Tuesday, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced that tourists from Nigeria can now apply for a visa without submitting a passport. Ramaphosa spoke on Tuesday at the opening of the 11th session of the Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission in Cape Town, which President Bola Tinubu attended. He said South Africa has simplified its visa processes to facilitate travel for Nigerian business people and tourists, with measures such as 5-year multiple entry visas. He also pledged South Africa's commitment to removing constraints on greater investment and addressing the challenges faced by companies in both countries. President Ramaphosa acknowledged the Nigerian government reforms to further strengthen and foster a business environment that offers assurances to investors, including from South Africa. The South African leader said Africa's development and the challenges facing countries of the Global South will be firmly placed on the G20 agenda. Still on Tuesday, the Nigeria Senate has confirmed the nomination of Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede for appointment as Chief of Army Staff. The confirmation today followed the consideration of a report by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Army, Senator Yar'Adua Abdulaziz Musa. Correspondent Kuluju reports that Yar'Adua said the committee was impressed with the high level of understanding, achievement and excellence stated in the credentials of the nominee. The Senate thereafter confirmed the appointment of Oluyede as the substantive Chief of Army Staff. Lieutenant General Oluyede was appointed to act as the Chief of Army Staff following the illness and subsequent death of late General Taurid Abiodun Lagbaja. On Wednesday, a magistrate court sitting in Ado-Ekiti remanded a human rights lawyer, Dele Farotimi, over an alleged case of defamation against the person of the founder of Afe Babalola University, Are Afe Babalola. Farotimi was arraigned for allegedly publishing a book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System, where he alleged that Afe Babalola corrupted the judiciary and procured judgment in the Supreme Court there by exposing him to hatred, contempt, ridicule and damage his hard-earned career. The suspect, Dele Farotimi, pleaded not guilty to all the 16-count charge. Police prosecutor Samson Oshun called for the remand of the suspect in prison custody pending further investigation and its outcome for the maintenance of the security in the country. Counsel to the defendant, Dayo Akeredolu, opposed the remand call and pleaded with the court to admit the defendant to bail on very liberal terms and on self-recognizance because the case at hand is bailable and the suspect is a known figure who is not constituting any threat. He said the defendant is presumed innocent until found guilty. In his ruling, the presiding judge, Magistrate Abayomi Adeosun, remanded the suspect in prison custody and adjourned till December 10. Still on Wednesday, Nigeria and South Africa have fully operationalized the Joint Ministerial Advisory Council on Industry, Trade and Investment to enhance economic cooperation between the two leading African economies. President Cyril Ramaphosa disclosed the decision on Tuesday in Cape Town, South Africa, at the Nigeria-South Africa Business Roundtable. At the roundtable, President Bola Tinubu assured that Nigeria is open for business and ready to provide stability, security, and the rule of law for businesses to thrive. At the event attended by business leaders, government officials, and trade stakeholders, President Tinubu expressed commitment to address issues discouraging South African investors from growing their businesses and franchises in Nigeria and called on South Africa to reciprocate by allowing Nigerian companies to operate and flourish in South Africa. President Tinubu assured that Nigerian officials will continue collaborating with their South African counterparts to facilitate the implementation of the agreed mandate under the Binational Commission. On Thursday, the Nigerian Senate has passed for third reading Investment and Securities Repeal and Enactment Bill 2024. Passage of the bill for third reading by the Senate followed by consideration and adoption of recommendations made to that effect by its Committee on Capital Market, chaired by Senator Osita Izunaso. The committee in the report informed the Senate that repeal and enactment bill, when signed into law, will make the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) the apex regulatory authority for the Nigerian capital market. Correspondent Kulujo reports that the passage of the bill will bring about diversity and growth in the capital market through market offerings that would form the foundation for economic expansion, thereby creating job opportunities within the Nigerian capital market. The Senate, accordingly, after clause-by-clause consideration of the bill, passed it for third reading. Still on Thursday, over 2,000 persons from Nkpo village, Rumolumeni community in Ibio Akpo local government area and Opobo town in Opobo Nkoro local government area of River State has benefited from a 2-day free medical rhapsody carried out by the Nigerian Navy ship NNS Pathfinder. The 2-day medical outreach, which was carried out as part of the Nigerian Navy's Corporative Social Responsibility and Non-Kinetic Effort of Operation Delta Sanity 4. Speaking during the exercise at Nkpo village, the commander NNS Pathfinder Commando Sajetan Anyeku said the medical rhapsody is in line with Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ugala vision, mission and strategic directive. Earlier, the team led by the Executive Officer of NNS Pathfinder Navy Captain Basi Basi led the team to Opobo in carrying out the corporate social responsibilities, as some of the beneficiaries thanked the Navy for the gesture. On Friday, the Minister of Works, David Umahi, declared in Abuja that President Bola Tinubu acted in the best interest of Nigeria with the ongoing construction of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. He also said there is no decision taken by the President that has ever failed, including this tax reform bill. Correspondent Kuliojo reports that Umahi, who made the declaration while fielding questions from journalists after an interactive session with the Senate Committee on Works, described those criticizing President Tinubu on the project as being jealous and envious of his performance. Tinubu had a dream 25 years ago as a governor on the project and divinely actualized for him when he became president by God. He, however, expressed happiness over interaction with the Senate Committee on Works for supporting the president, adding that they see the good work the president is doing. He specifically praised the chairman of the Senate Committee on Works, Senator Mpigi Barinada, a PDP senator, for moving a motion that Tinubu must continue in 2027 so that he can complete all these projects. Still on Friday, the founder of Afe Babalola University, Ado Ekiti, Are Afe Babalola, has said that Dele Faritimi, the human rights activist recently remanded by Ekiti Magistrate Court, will be free if he proves the allegations leveled against him. It will recall that Faritimi alleged Afe Babalola of corrupting the judiciary in his book titled Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System, and was remanded on Wednesday after he was arrested at his chambers by the Ekiti State Police Command. Addressing journalists at the Afe Babalola Bar Center, Ado Ekiti, Awusheni Ajayi, the lead counsel to Babalola, said the defamatory remarks made against him in his book were targeted to injure the hard-earned reputation of the legal icon, which cannot be remedied by any award of damages. The lead counsel wondered why Afe Babalola, who was accused of corrupting the judiciary, would lose cases in court and still be fined with over 30 million naira by the same Supreme Court accused of corrupting. The former Justice Commissioner in Ekiti, joined by the duo of state ex-chairman of NBA, Olasukomi Falade and Lawrence Fasami, explained that Faritimi has been inconvenient with Afe Babalola over a land dispute case in 2014. He added that Faritimi's action is an offence punishable under Section 59 of the Criminal Code Act, which emphasizes on the publication of false news with intent to cause fear and alarm in the public. And that's all we have on Tracking the Week.
Now we move to the international desk for the news.
Hello and welcome to the foreign news. Syrian opposition fighters have taken over the presidential palace in Damascus after a rapid offensive that seized control of the capital and sent crowds into the streets to celebrate the end of the Al-Assad family's 53-year rule. State television on Sunday aired a video statement by a group of men saying President Bashar al-Assad has been overthrown and all prisoners have been set free. The man who read the statement said the opposition group, known as the Operations Room to Conquer Damascus, called on all opposition fighters and citizens to preserve the institutions of the Free Syrian State. The opposition said al-Assad has left Damascus. His whereabouts remains unknown. Syria's war erupted in 2011 as an uprising against al-Assad's rule and quickly morphed into a full-blown conflict that dragged in foreign powers. Hundreds of thousands of people were killed while millions were forced from their homes in one of the world's largest refugee crises. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israeli forces have seized a buffer zone in the occupied Golan Heights established by a 1974 ceasefire agreement with Syria after a lightning advance by Syrian opposition forces ended Bashar al-Assad's rule. Netanyahu said on Sunday that a decades-old agreement had collapsed and that Syrian soldiers had abandoned their positions, necessitating the Israeli takeover. Israel captured the Golan Heights in the 1967 war and annexed it. The international community, except for the United States, views it as occupied Syrian territory. Agricultural areas in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights were declared closed military zones, and some schools shifted to online classes in anticipation of unrest. Syrians poured into the street, echoing with celebratory gunfire on Sunday after a stunning opposition advance reached the capital of Damascus, putting an end to the Al-Assad's family's 50 years of iron rule, but raising questions about the future of the country and the wider region. Ghana's former president John Dramani Mahama has won the country's presidential election after his main opponent, Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia, conceded defeat. The people of Ghana have spoken. The people have voted for change at this time and we respect it with all humility, Bawumia said in a news conference on Sunday. The defeat in Saturday's election ends 2 terms in power for the governing New Patriotic Party under President Nana Akufo-Addo, marked by Ghana's worst economic crisis in years, involving high inflation and a debt default. Bawumia said he called Mahama of the National Democratic Congress to congratulate him. Earlier, NDC spokesman Sami Gyamfi told newsmen the party's internal review of results showed Mahama won 56.3% of the vote against 41.3% of Bawumia. The vice president said Mahama won the presidency decisively. The NDC won the parliamentary election according to the NPP internal tally of vote. Mahama, who was president of Ghana between July 2012 and January 2017, confirmed on X he had received Bawumia's congratulatory call over his emphatic victory. Still on foreign news, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump on Sunday called for an immediate ceasefire negotiations to end the war between Ukraine and Russia, describing the conflict as madness. Trump's appeal came hours after he held his face-to-face talks with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Paris since his election victory last month. Zelensky and Ukraine would like to make a deal and stop the madness, Trump wrote on his social media platform. He claimed Kyiv had lost around 400,000 soldiers, a figure that appeared to include both killed and wounded. Zelensky previously said Ukraine had suffered 43,000 soldiers killed and 370,000 wounded during the conflict. I know Vladimir well. This is his time to act. China can help. The world is waiting, Trump added, referring to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Trump and Zelensky met on Saturday during Trump's visit to Paris for the reopening of Notre Dame Cathedral. The hour-long discussion was described as good and productive by officials from both the French and Ukrainian sides. Pope Francis appealed on Sunday for U.S. authorities to commute the sentences of death row prisoners in an unusual request during his weekly Sunday prayer in St. Peter's Square. Francis is a vocal advocate against the death penalty and changed the Catholic Church teachings in 2018 to specifically call for a ban on the practice. But the pontiff, as leader of the 1.4 billion member church, usually refrains from naming specific countries that continue the practice. There are about 2,250 prisoners on death row across the U.S., according to the non-profit Death Penalty Information Center. About 40 are federal prisoners. Some American Catholic groups have been calling on President Joe Biden to commute the federal sentences in his remaining time in office. Finally, in foreign news, Australia Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said on December 8 that suspected arson at a Melbourne synagogue appeared to be an act of terror, a day after his Israeli counterpart said the Labour government had motivated the crime with anti-Israel policies. It said the fire at the synagogue was a definition of terrorism. There has been a worrying rise in anti-Semitism, the Prime Minister told reporters, adding that he would continue to call it out. Terrorism is something that is aimed at creating fear in the community, and the atrocities that occurred at the synagogue in Melbourne clearly were designed to create fear in the community, he said. Maxwell, an arsonist, said the Adas Israel synagogue blaze before dawn in the Melbourne suburb of Riponia on December 6 got in much of the building, though there were no serious injuries. Australian police will determine whether an incident is a terrorist act will meet on December 9 to see if the fire meets the official criteria as they continue to hunt down the two arsonists. The attack has drawn widespread condemnation within Australia and abroad. Conservative politicians and Jewish groups have criticized Albanese's government for what they say is a failure to call out anti-Semitism. And that's all we have on the foreign news.
Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with thoughts on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with thoughts on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page as Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate to live updates and comments as you can easily scan our IG QR code.